Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Latinx Kidlit Book Festival. So excited to be here with these amazing artists and illustrators. Today, we're going to be talking about drawing, and we're going to be talking as well. We're talking about style, textures, collages, and mixing techniques. Everyone works a bit differently. And I'll be moderating today. So my name is Alyssa Bermudez, and I'm an author, illustrator, and art teacher. My recent book that came out is Big Apple Diaries, and it's a graphic novel memoir about my life as a young girl growing up in New York City before and after the September 11th attacks in 2001. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure that this is a kid-friendly and kind event. So if you can reference our anti-harassment policy in the chat, that would be great. We would love to hear from you in the chat today. So definitely, comment where you're watching from. If you have any ideas that you'd like to see drawn by these amazing artists today, that would be great. We'd love to hear your ideas. And if you have any questions as well, we'd love to get to those later too. So let's introduce these artists. Now, we're going to introduce everyone in a fun way and ask everyone to introduce themselves, but also, if you can start drawing a self-portrait, we're going to get the pencils rolling. So let's do a quick, we'll time you later, but we can at least, we'll take it easy for now if everyone can do a quick self-portrait. And that way we can introduce each other one by one. Juana, if you'd like to
get started. I am Juana. Yeah, I can do myself at the same time. I can do that. So my name is Juana. I am an author and an illustrator. I do a lot more illustrated books, but I have a few that I have actually wrote and illustrated myself. I was born and raised in Lima, Peru, in South America. My first language was Spanish and is Spanish. And then I moved to the US when I was 23. And that's really briefly, that's me.
Fabulous. And Edel?
My name is Edel Rodriguez. I was born in Havana, Cuba. I came to the United States when I was 8 years old on the Mariel boat lift, and I went to college in New York City and studied art and illustration.
Love it. Loving everyone's portrait so far. Jorge, what about you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Jorge Lacera. I was born in Colombia, but I grew up in Miami, Florida. I've been an illustrator, I think, for my whole life. I've been drawing and wherever I can get a hold of a napkin, or my mom's, she always carried a stack of paper in her purse, so I was always drawing when we went out. And I am an author illustrator. Most recently, I illustrated EXOPLANET, written by Deborah Underwood, a story about the planets in our solar system discovering an exoplanet nearby, and then things kind of don't go as they should, and then zombies don't eat veggies, which I co-wrote and illustrated with my wife Megan.
Love it. Fabulous. Now it looks like we already have an exciting prompt to get us going. But I want us to see these amazing portraits first. Do you want to? Any comments that you'd like to add about what you've created for yourself? Any defining features that you're highlighting?
Well, I like to start at the nose because it's sort of like the central spot, and it's my main feature. And actually, as I grew older, I didn't notice this when I was a kid, but as I grew older, I don't know how I noticed it. I think someone told me that I had like a nice eye and an evil eye, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And apparently, if you look a little bit closer, like there's one eye that's a little bit sleepier, like a little down here, and my other eye's more open. So I drew that on there, and something that I've sort of like noticed as I gotten older, like this guy's gotten lazier. So sometimes when I'm driving, my wife thinks I'm sleeping because she's looking at me from this side, and she freaks out. She's like, "You're sleeping." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm just like this."
I love that. Anyone else?
No, I always have to make sure that I do a lot of squiggles for my hair because I have very curly hair. So that's one thing. And then, yeah, I think I like to play around with pattern whenever I can. So I just use the fact that I'm wearing kind of like a tropical shirt as an excuse to drop some red in there, just to try some different colors.
And I just added some red because we need
Nice.
to have the cheeks. I love having cheeks in my paintings, so I had to add that. But anyway,
So
that's
cute.
that. Yeah. Move on.
I love that. I love seeing just how different everything is going to be today as well. I think that's really exciting as everyone has different style. Are we feeling ready to do our first audience prompt?
I am ready.
So,
Favorite book
Stephen
character?
Vernon, he's asking, how about your rendition of your favorite book character? So something that was originally drawn by someone else, your version.
Favorite
And
book.
we'll start the timer on this one. So let's go a minute and a half. I think
A minute and a half. Okay.
Minute
See if
and
I
a half?
remember.
A minute and a half.
Let's see if I remember. I'll try my best to remember.
Now, let's see. So I'd love to hear where everyone's drawing from. Edel, where are you joining us from?
I'm out in New Jersey. My studio out here. Small little town.
Yeah. And Jorge?
So I'm drawing from Montreal, Canada. We moved here about 2 years ago. And so one of the other reasons I wore this shirt is because it just snowed not too long ago, and I'm trying to push back against the weather and trying to bring some color to my life because it's starting to get very gray. So Montreal, Canada, and it's nice here though. We got some snow. It's excellent.
Nice. And Juana, where are you joining us from?
I am in southeastern Connecticut, 5-minute drive from the beach. We used to live in Phoenix, Arizona, and we had our first snow yesterday.
Wow.
So, and I'm, before that I live in Lima, so which was very mild, 50 to 75, so it's kind of interesting. I'm really excited about the seasons because it's only been 9 months since we moved here. Oh, I forgot the arms, but this is supposed to be the Little Prince. Yeah, El Principito.
Yeah, I can recognize what's happening, but maybe for anyone out there, could you let us know who your characters are?
So I mean, I don't know. I picked Batman. Batman is one of those. I grew up reading comic books. Comic books were a big part of how I learned English. Actually, when I moved from Colombia to the United States, it was one of those things that like my cousins gave me a big stack of comic books, and I devoured them right away. And it was like such a cool experience to read like all these dynamic characters, and like it really made me pull out my dictionary and look up words and stuff like that. So I think of Batman as one of my favorite book characters before he became a movie star.
And Edel?
I didn't read any children's books when I was a kid in Cuba. We just didn't have a library. I grew up in a sort of poor little town, and I just never really got into children's books. And later on, actually, when I went to college, I found the books of Eric Carle, and my favorite one was the Hungry Caterpillar. And that's what I drew here. And I was fortunate later on to become friends with him, and we would write back and forth, and we met at a few of his dinners. And he's a wonderful man, so that's what I drew here.
That's amazing. Love it. Oh, we've got our next prompt. Thank you, Angela. I'm going to get the timer set up. We are going to ask you all to create your rendition of mermaids baking a cake. I love this.
What's this?
Mermaids baking a cake.
And we have a minute and a half?
Mermaids baking
minute and
a
a half.
cake. Oh my God.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll start now.
Mermaids baking a cake. How would they bake a cake? All right, well.
What's everyone's favorite art medium to work with? What about you, Jorge? Do you work digitally?
I work primarily digitally these days, but I found that when I'm unwinding, drawing is such a big part of my life. I do a lot of art just in my sketchbook, and I actually use these materials. So I use a Tombow pen, which is like a pen that you can pick up at an art supply store, and I use it in different colors. And I just find that like drawing in my sketchbook when I'm watching TV or when I'm hanging out with the family is such a way for me to like get away from screens and to do things sort of tactile, but with my hands. But most of the time I'm working digitally these days. It's actually I quite love that, the freedom that you get from computers.
Yeah, I like that you can have that versatility. Cool. What about you, Juana?
I am a purely traditional artist by choice. I did 10 years of graphic and web design before going to Children's Illustration, and I got tired of the computer. But I also went to school for to be a traditional painter. So I use I am a mixed media artist. I use everything and anything that I think fits. Yeah.
Love it. Well, that was time. I know that it's not a long time to create a very detailed work. I'm glad I'm moderating today because I'm not sure how I would have done that one.
My mermaid's gonna get fried up, I think.
Ooh, yeah, that looks dangerous. All right, okay, we'll start past this spot. So a question from Elizabeth in the 7th grade. And she says, can you please draw a snowflake?
That's so sweet.
Yeah. All right.
One snowflake.
All right. Let me try something different.
And thinking about style, have you always worked in the style that you work in, or how do you think your style has evolved? I know some people think, you can't make your style. It just, it just kind of happens, and you might be the only one that doesn't see it. What do you think about your personal style, Edel?
Well, my personal style, as you can tell from this, is always trying something kind of new and different and seeing what happens. I tell my students to not worry about style so much and to just do what they want to do, and see what comes across. So the style comes from idea, and right here I just had the idea of that snowflakes are white, always painted white or something, and I'm like, well, what if I do a multicolored snowflake? So that's how this came about.
That's fabulous. What about you, Jorge?
Style is one of those things that, like, I think I agree with Edel that, like, I always try to adapt it to the work that I'm doing. I always try to think about the story that I'm trying to tell and the style that best matches that. But it is something that is fun to zero in on and to understand. And I am always fascinated by style. I always kind of want to try something new and exciting. If I see that it's working somewhere, I go, oh, I want to try that. So.
Yeah, love it. And what about you, Juana? You've got your lovely snowflake in hand.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add. I mean, everything has been said, but I just think that as long as you're working, like really putting your heart into what you're doing, like really feeling emotion and feel into what you're doing, your style, will come through, I think, and it will evolve. I mean, my style changed when I started in 2000. I think it was 2006 that I wanted to start making picture books, which was completely different from what I was doing in 1995 or in 1990s, right, or in the 80s, But
Yeah, I think it's
it
something
changes.
with students and younger people. You're very obsessed about it, and then as you actually get into it, you realize that it's not that
Changes.
important. Yeah, it changes,
Yeah.
it moves.
Yeah, because you're looking for different things. You're searching for new things. And if you don't, and this is something that I'm going through right now, it's like if you don't have a new way of doing things, you get tired and you lose the excitement in the work. And that's what I'm struggling with right now. I mean, what am I going to make new? So I'm excited about sitting at the table, because to me, work is a puzzle and I need to solve that puzzle, but the puzzle needs to be difficult. Right? Yeah.
Love it. All right, we've got from 7th grade, P9 in Maine. Can you draw a snowman in the shape of a cat?
I can do that.
A snowman in the shape of a cat. Man.
Get the timer going. Love it. Work is a puzzle. Yeah, that's a good quote. So let's see. What was your favorite thing to draw when you were a kid? That's going to be my question while everyone's doing these amazing snowmen, catmen, snow cats.
Well, my favorite thing, kind of disturbing, I was drawing military tanks because I grew up in the Cuban Revolution.
So it makes sense.
there were a lot of military parades, and we were all talked about, the military and this and that. So there was a lot of soldiers and tanks and things like that. So I drew obsessive little tanks all the time.
I think I drew a lot of scenes, probably with a lot, because I was like, my parents both worked. And so I was oftentimes at home watching TV. So TV was like a big thing for me. So I remember drawing big scenes with like all the characters that I like from my TV shows from like the 80s mostly, and early 90s. So
showing your favorite characters. I feel like a lot of our students watching out there could probably relate to drawing their favorite characters. I think that's a great way to get into drawing.
Yeah, and copying from books, I think, was a way that I taught myself how to like learn about proportion and things like that, because you're kind of trying to match what you see. So that's always fun.
You know, one thing I loved when I was young is, but I didn't like draw it. I didn't draw obsessively, but I loved My Melody and Hello Kitty. I just loved the shapes, the proportions, the colors, everything about it was just so fascinating to me. But yeah, and then when I started doing like I worked doing design for toys, like for display cases, boxes, and in some way I think my work reflected that. But yeah,
I love it. I love everyone's rendition of the cat snowman. All right. Putting everyone to work today. Fast timing as well. Gosh. So we're ready for another prompt. And we've got this lovely question. I would love to see an image of your favorite childhood memory from the holidays. Maybe something that was special in your family.
It's a big one.
well, let's go 2 minutes on this one. Love it. I hope that anyone watching out there is challenging themselves by drawing with the artist today. And we'd love to see what you come up with if you tag us on Instagram and Twitter, the Latinx Kid Lit Book Festival. Love to see what you're coming up with. And can you do it in 2 minutes? When it comes to creating texture in your work, especially those of you, working traditionally, how do you like to create texture in your work, digitally or traditionally? Like, I know it's really fun to mix watercolor and oil pastels to create beautiful texture. Is there something that you like to do that's kind of your trick, if you're willing to let us know an insight into your technique? Juana?
Yeah, I think paper has a big, it's very important to me, the surface that I use. So I either create texture over the paper that I buy and use for my work, or I use a paper that is very unique. Like for example, in Zonia, I use paper made out of banana bark, banana tree bark, because it was the right book. I mean, Zonia is about the Amazon, so it was fitting. Or most of my work is done on mixed media paper, but I create texture on it. I don't work directly on the paper. Yeah. So I again, it's texture.
That's time. Edel, tell us about this dancing scene.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, the holidays was really like Noche Buena. It was a lot of partying. It was mostly dancing all day, dancing all night till midnight, and then at midnight is when we opened the gifts. So it was a rowdy party. It's very different than now that I'm an adult in the Northeast, and it's like, oh, we opened the gifts at 5 or whatever. I don't know. It was a crazy party. Like Noche Buena was a crazy party with food and dancing, and the gifts were kind of like sort of something at the end of the night, and I actually miss it. So that's my favorite memory.
That sounds amazing. You, Jorge? That looks like a delicious feast. No.
Yeah, well, it's a tamal. So tamales, was like an absolute holiday tradition in my family, and yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't really necessarily like tamales, but like they do bring they warm my heart, the idea of them, and my one of my neighbors used to make them, and I had a very close relationship, like my grandmother, and so like every time I see them, I that just reminds me of that. And then the hands, it's very similar to Edel. It's like a communal thing, right? It's always a family coming together to celebrate. So that's what I was trying to capture in 2 minutes. And yeah.
That's amazing. And you, Juana?
We in Peru, just like I bet in Cuba and in Colombia, we wait, until midnight, right? On Nochebuena, right? We wait until midnight, and then we have the big dinner. But one thing that you do, the little ones, one thing that you do is you run with the baby Jesus and you seat it on Mary's lap, right? Baby Jesus will be hiding. I bet you did it too. Baby Jesus will be hiding under somewhere in there in the nacimiento, and then you have to go. If you were lucky, you were the kid who will run and then get baby Jesus on Mary's lap. That was a big deal to me.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's the silliest thing. But
Ooh, we've got our next poem from Christina. And she says, can you draw a fire-breathing mouse?
Okay.
This sounds fun. We'll go 1.5 minutes again.
All right.
I love this. Seeing where some people are joining us from. We've got hello from Houston. Let's see. Some amazing drawing ideas happening in the chat. Love it. Oh, and I see some holiday traditions in the chat as well, that people have adding their thoughts as well. I love, all the different traditions that people have around the country and around the world. So I'm actually in Australia at the moment, and it's kind of weird for me to have a summery Christmas, so that it feels completely opposite to growing up in New York and having a white Christmas. Oop, that's time.
Oh.
All right, how are we going? Oh my gosh, this is great. Love all the different versions. Oh, and there's a bit of a battle happening, and I love how Juana has the whole page inflamed, and and then we've got a close up from Edel. Very cool. I like the additions of color too. Neat. All right, let's see. We've got another prompt already, and it's a castle made of
Pizza castle. All right.
I love this. This one I would like to draw too, I think.
You should jump in.
Yeah, we should have some.
I don't have any supplies out. I'm using my imagination. No, I usually work digitally as well. So
Pizza.
You can't go.
Wait, castle, right? A castle. Castle. How are we gonna make a castle? Okay.
Yeah, a castle. We're turning, right? Yes, we are. Love it. Now we're doing some food. Does anyone have a favorite food or?
I love Peruvian food. I have to be honest. Yeah.
I like arepas.
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 Me too.
I grew up in Miami, so for me, it's all about the Cuban food. So I like arroz con gris. I like the sort of fried pork. All that good stuff. Cuban bread. I would pay serious money for a nice loaf of Cuban bread right around.
Yeah.
We've got 5 seconds.
Oh.
Done. All right, tell us what you've come up with. Edel, I see you're using the pizza box.
I just made a castle of pizza boxes. That's
nice.
all I can say.
I just threw pepperoni on an odd shape. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I figured a castle made out of pizza wouldn't be very structurally sound, so it would, I think, be not a good place to be inside of, a storm.
I'd like to see an art show of these things, like totally out of context. Just put it up in a gallery and see what happens.
Yeah. Marcia says that she loves how each sketch is so different, even though the prompt is the same. And I love that too. It's just, amazing for everyone watching to see how it's interpreted differently, and everyone has different styles.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to learn about style. How like I do things like right in your face. Then he does things a little bit more like the whole scene. She does things for a different point of view. So that's, you're seeing what style is. It's just how you see things.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong way.
Well,
now we have a question.
Tell that to our editors.
Yeah, well. We have a question from Macy B in 8th grade, and asking, which of your characters from your books do you relate to the most? Anyone would like to go first? It's a tricky one.
I'll go first.
Okay, go.
I was just going to say, Mauricio Romero from Zombies Don't Eat Veggies is a character I relate to a lot, because the whole book is about him sort of being a zombie that likes veggies, and so he has to sort of explain that to his family, who's like a very traditional zombie family. And I know that I felt always a little bit different from my family, in that as Edel said, like my family also had big parties and big get-togethers, and while I missed that and I have fond memories of it, I was also a very quiet kid that would prefer to be reading a book in a corner rather than have in the middle of a big party. So that Mo for sure has a part of me in him. So
I love that. Juana?
I can't pick one character, but I can pick one book, and I could say La Princesa and the Pea. I have it right here, this one. So in La Princesa and the Pea, you have the princess who's all bouncy and happy and lovely, and then you have here, I have to show you this one. And then you have the queen, La Reina, who is always grumpy in a bad mood. And then I always think that they are like the two sides of me. Like, I could be very happy and bouncy, but I could be really grumpy. So I pick those two. Yeah. And Edel, there's Edel. I thought we left him, but we lost him. Yeah.
I created this little character here. Let me see if you can see it there. Sergio saves the game. The first one was called Sergio Makes a Splash, but I wrote it and I illustrated it. But the second one is sort of like he ends up saving the game with the thing that got in the way his whole time. Was he had this beak that was always just getting in the way when he's trying to be the goalie, and at the end the ball goes right into his beak, and he ends up saving the game. So I relate to that, because I try to use like my weaknesses as sort of find a way to be successful with what I can't do, So I relate to that.
Well, I think that's a pretty great example for everyone watching too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now Jennifer Myers has given us our next prompt.
I love it.
And thank you. Jennifer says, it's a prompt idea from Claire in 5th grade. Please draw a dancing pig.
Dancing pig.
This one sounds fun too. The clock rolling. Dancing pig. Love it. These are amazing prompts that everyone's coming up with. So thank you for submitting them. love to see it. I love to hear all of the markers on the board as well, actually. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that your class is tuning in again this year. The draw-offs are pretty exciting, I think. And this is the last one of this year's festival. So we're finishing it off with some exciting stuff. Now, we have some questions. We'll let everyone show us what they've come up with first. And then we'll move into some questions. So if anyone else wants to submit a question, now is the time. Let's see these dancing pigs.
Mine's a break dancer.
Oh, we did. I did one too. Okay,
There you
go. Yeah, mine's like popping and locking, but yeah, okay.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Mine's kind of doing a windmill,
Yeah.
handstand kind of thing. All right.
Nice.
That's amazing. I love how you were both on like the
Same vibe.
the same track.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So with some questions, Christopher P. in 7th grade wants to know, how long have you been doing this for? What about you, Juana?
Children's books since 2005. So 5, 15, 10, 20, 50, 16 years. Yeah, right? I know. Math is not what I have to work.
A long time. And you, Jorge?
So I've been drawing since I was a kid, working professionally as an artist since I graduated from college. I went to art college and I graduated, oh my gosh, in 2004, like a million years ago, it seems like. But for children's books specifically, my debut picture book, Zombies Don't Eat Veggies, came out in 2019, so relatively recently. Yeah, just the last 3 years with the children's books, but I love doing them.
I graduated from art school a billion years ago in 1994. And then I worked for like magazines like New York Times, the New Yorker. And then someone saw my work in there, an agent, and it was a book agent. And I got my first children's book in about 1998. So that's been about 23 years that I've been doing illustrating books, but also doing a lot of other things.
Amazing. Love it. Oh, we've got a prompt in the mix.
So now they're just being silly.
Gosh, I think so. I love it. There's a bit more food involved this time.
Okay.
Now they're blending past things, I think.
Like a mashup.
Genesis wants us to
A snow cat eating a pizza castle.
You might get that next. You know?
We've reached the 40-minute mark where people just get silly. All right,
Yes.
a donut cat eating.
It is a donut cat eating a pizza.
Donut cat eating.
Jesus. All right.
We love the pigs. Yeah, I do too.
Oh God, this is hilarious. Oh.
I see where you're going with that. Oh, I love it.
You can't even breathe. Oh my God.
Oh man. I can't even finish it.
Oh, great.
I'm laughing so much.
I'm just amazed at what's happening, and I love it. Juana's kind of covering hers a little bit, and that like it makes it a big surprise in the end.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's so cute.
Is it
It's
cheese
like-
or pepperoni?
It's like donut eating pizza. It's like animals eating animals. It's
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, wait. I need pink frosties.
Let's see how we're doing on time. We've got 20 seconds.
okay. I paint my pepperoni and I'm done.
Oh, there's apparently a donut cat in someone's classroom as well. So it's a thing.
Oh.
That's time.
Oh man.
I like the
There you go.
concern as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one. Oh,
That's brilliant.
Something I've never drawn in my life.
Yeah.
oh
That's
my
amazing.
God. I
I
love
love that
it.
it's taking out the other side.
This is a kid's book right here. I'm taking it.
Do it.
Do not repeat it.
No
It's
royalties.
mine.
Look at the next couple of years.
All rights reserved. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, love it. Okay, we're going on another one now.
Okay.
Not a
And
pizza
that's-
bone.
Okay, just a bone.
Prompt from Chloe. Please draw a dog holding a bone.
Holding. Okay.
We'll go a minute and a half.
Bone.
Well, that's my dog is snoring next to me. So if anyone's hearing that. Does anyone have any pets nearby? Speaking of dogs and bones, I've got another dog here actually.
I have two, but I removed. They are normally with me, but I have officially removed them from the studio to avoid interruptions.
Yes, official assistant.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a German short hair pointer. She's about 6 months. And it's still a baby. Yeah.
Cute.
And then I have a Frigo, a French bulldog beagle mix that is about 25 pounds of sheer power. He's an agent of chaos.
So cute. Love what's happening. We've got 17 seconds. These are so amazing. It's so exciting to see them in action and you know what you draw first and second, and you know what comes first in your process, and that's probably exciting for everyone watching as well, not just me. And that's time. What's happening there, Jorge?
Oh, sorry. It's like it's a dog bringing a bone to another dog that's desperate for the bone.
It looked like there was an earthquake at your place there.
Yeah, sorry. I just bumped into my camera and it's making everything crazy. So, there we go.
Oh, that's great. So cool. Just so fun. Now we have a few minutes left.
Okay.
Let's see.
A cake and a
Oh,
real.
we've got-
Oh boy.
And a real
Okay.
castle.
Cake and a real.
We'll start the timer.
A cake and a
Were
what?
there any questions
castle.
that anyone wants
Real
to know?
A cake.
Cake in a real castle. And if there are any questions for our illustrators today. Other than amazing drawing prompts, because we're flush with that at the moment. It's awesome. Well, I'll ask the question while we're drawing. for anyone out there who loves drawing and, you know, they maybe want to be an illustrator someday, what advice would you give the young artists out there? Oh, perfect question. Coming in, timing with me. Advice for young budding artists. Edel, would you like to chime in?
I would say to just keep on doing it. Do it every day. Do it when you like it, because you like it. And definitely, if you can in high school, get into programs that sort of foster art education. You know, maybe weekend programs, or high schools that are special arts high schools. And then when you go to a college that's an art school, and you don't have to do any science or math or anything. So I didn't know much about art schools when I was younger. I found out about them very late, but there are colleges that will just teach you art. So look into that. And then you can draw castles on top of cakes.
You're selling the dream.
That is what we went to art school for.
And you, Jorge?
I think, yeah, just keep drawing. I think that Edel had great advice. That's what I did. I went to a magnet art program in South Florida, and then went to art school to learn how to draw a real castle. But no, I think that just drawing and getting practicing and taking a look at following artists that you like, perhaps through events like these online. I know that a lot of the illustrators that are online, and they sometimes post how they work, and I think it's really exciting to see how their process.
Which program did you go? I'm from Miami too, so which program did you go?
I went to Design and Architecture Senior High. I went to Dash.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Love it. And you, Juana, any advice to the young budding artists out there?
Yeah, I say pay attention to what you love, because most of the time that's where the key of what you will do with your books, what you will write, the music that you'll do, whatever it is that you love will come. Yeah, pay attention to what you love. Yeah.
I like how Jorge split them up this time. It was like, a real castle.
That's a real castle, yeah.
Amazing. Let's see. We'll try to squeeze in one more prompt, I think, and that's Ariana. Please draw giant fruits smooshing houses.
Okay. Well,
Can't wait to see it.
I'm just gonna stay right here.
That's a good idea.
Cheating.
Like the combination of both. You might be onto something here with with that idea, and the donut cat. Maybe it lives in that castle.
So now I got to do the fruit part. All right. Oh, okay. I know. This one's gonna be a pear.
I love the scale of what you're doing, Jorge, with the giant apple.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a question while everyone's creating away, and that's, why did you choose to draw for a living? What do you think, Jorge?
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I always knew that I wanted to do something that allowed me to sort of express myself, but then also tell stories. And I think drawing is a way of storytelling, visual storytelling. And so I think once I realized that I think I was in the library, and I picked up a book that was called The Art of Return of the Jedi. And it was the first time that I saw that people got paid. It was the first time I realized people get paid to draw for movies and for books and things. And then that's when I realized this is something that I want to look into. This looks like fun.
I'm framing this one.
Love it. That's amazing. I love the serious expression on Juana's. Oh, that's great. So funny. Love it. So Edith wants to know, what inspired you to be an artist? Is there any standout moment, or maybe a person, or someone that helped push you along the way? What do you think?
I think like teachers, elementary school teachers, when they say great job or whatever, and then I remember, I think in like 3rd, 4th grade, I would get the art award. So when you're a kid, you get the art award, you're like, I must be doing something right. That's the first thing. And then later on, it was, seeing other artists work in museums and sort of wanting to emulate them in some way.
Yeah.
Picasso.
It's pretty amazing. Anyone else have something that inspired
my
you?
My case was completely different because my dad was an artist and my grandfather was an artist. His dad was an artist. So art was something that was, we had paintings in the house, my grandfather's paintings, my dad's paintings. It was something that it was very natural. So, and I actually tried not to be an artist, but I was really kidding myself because I am an artist. I always was. But I worked the other, but it's really exciting, as Edel said, it's really exciting to have, like we improve, we go from 0 to 20, right? 20 is like an A+, right? And it's so exciting to get your 20 for art. It maybe was, I don't know if, in high school, it was the only 20s that I had. In elementary school, I was a really good student, but then I got tired of that. But yeah, it's exciting to see how people respond to your work when you're so little, so young. Yeah. Jorge, how about you?
I had a similar experience. My dad would always paint and draw at home. We have like the house is full of his paintings, not professionally, but just for fun. And we always had artists in the family. And so for me, it was always like, maybe not from school, but I was always looking for that approval from my dad. I was like, is this a good enough drawing to get and I knew him enough to know that and he was pretty straightforward. So if it was an okay drawing, he'd be like, okay.
He'll tell you.
Yeah. But if it was a good drawing and getting that expression out of his, I was like, oh, okay. So that really drove me when I was young. And then as I got older, it was sort of like more about, seeing how, because the thing about going to art schools, and the thing maybe that is good for other students to hear, is I was never the best artist in my class. I was never the best artist in my class or in my high school, because I was always in art high schools that had amazingly talented students that were doing, incredible work at a young age. And for me, what that taught me was that I can't really compare myself to other people. I have to only do my best. And so then I that's where I focused on making sure that I was always getting better myself than my last drawing. And that became something that helped me a lot throughout my career. So it was just focusing on am I doing my best here?
Yeah, I think that's amazing. So Cecilia wants you to draw a dragon holding your favorite food.
My favorite food are apples and pears.
Are we going to keep
I'm just gonna stay
on
right
that?
here.
We'll start the timer now.
Oh man.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, there you go.
One of Mrs. Forte says that the class loves reading your books and showing students at the moment, which is amazing. Love to see that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't remember how a dragon looks like, so that goes to
It's dragon eating your favorite food.
Yeah,
right?
Reference. So for anyone, if you don't know what you're drawing, like if you're watching here and you think that we know it, we don't know everything, and we have to. Well, Edel does, but I don't.
No, I don't.
But
I don't.
we can always go and look at reference and then go and draw. Which I can't do that, but I can look at what they did. Yeah,
love it. Yeah, I'm not sure I would be able to do a dragon without reference. Definitely really important to use references when you need and let your imagination fill in the rest.
The thing about dragons, though, is they could be kind of whatever you want them to be, right? They could look
true.
Yeah, it's true. A bit like a Like a crocodile.
Yeah, mine was looking like a crocodile. Yeah.
What's my favorite food?
That's time. A minute and a half is fast.
Yeah. Well, it took me
How
a
long
long.
do you usually spend on your drawings, would you say?
Oh,
A lot longer. Yeah.
yeah, 10,
lot
20, an hour. I don't know.
Depending on how detailed something
It took
is.
me a while to figure out how to draw tapas.
There you go.
I was like, I don't know how to draw tapas.
And I did an empanada because it's easier than lomo saltado. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I tried to. It's hard to illustrate, but I've been craving. There's these delicious things called red bean buns, and they're like a Chinese dessert, and I love them. And haven't been able to get one in a while, and so this is me sort of manifesting one in the universe, and this is the dragon eating one. So hopefully, I'll get one soon.
Yeah, I think one of the things that students should know is that we don't magically know how everything looks like out of our heads, and that's something. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, how do they know that? And it's just artists, when you don't know, you go look at pictures and reference, you take pictures of things to try to understand how they function and look, you know.
Oh, definitely. It's so important.
Yeah, and oftentimes, like what seems like something that's coming out of someone's head is actually them drawing that a lot. You know, I've drawn enough dragons to sort of have an idea of what I would want a dragon to maybe look like. And so sometimes, but that takes time, and there's a lot of work that goes into that ideation.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never done a dragon, so
I
this
mean,
is my first. Yeah, this
I
is
love
my
your
first
dragons.
dragon.
I love your dragon.
That's a cool dragon, yeah.
Pretty impressive for never having done a dragon before.
You did a really nice drawing there.
Yeah.
If you want to laugh about something, we were driving and my daughter wanted to, we were in a trip and my daughter, who was a baby at that time, wanted to see a deer. And we lived in Phoenix. And before that, we lived in LA. And before that, I lived in Lima. So Chris, my husband, goes, well, why don't you draw a deer for Eva? Her name is Eva. And my dear, he saved that drawing because it was so bad. And it looked nothing like a deer. And it's very, I bet it happened to you too. It was horrible. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, deer or anything like a deer, like horses and deers, are very difficult to draw because they have anatomy that is like unusual, and
Yeah, I could not think of a deer.
Yeah.
I was like sitting there through the trip thinking, how does it look like? And I could not figure out how the deer worked or looked. Yeah, it was horrible.
I've done that with a hippo once. I still don't know what a hippo looks like, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Now we do have to wrap up today. This has been so exciting, amazing for everyone to watch. It's been amazing for me to watch your process and everything that's happening and all the creativity. Do you have any, words of wisdom before we close off? Any?
Keep reading, keep drawing. Yeah.
Drink more water.
Yeah,
That's good.
stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Also, you're already an artist. If you're drawing and you're creating, like, you're on the path. Keep going. Don't stop if it's what fills you with joy.
Yeah, and one thing that I try to teach my even college students is if you're not excellent at something that someone else is doing, if you're not an amazing draftsperson, you might be a different kind of artist. You might be a printmaker. You might be a sculptor. You might find the thing that you're good at. You don't have to be the best at everything, and you can have a very successful career at not knowing how to draw dragons. So there's a lot of different parts in the art field that would make you happy for life. I mean, we're all just at home drawing pictures all the time, and I think it's a very good career. But you have to find the slot where you kind of fit in, I think.
That's right. I think that's a really beautiful advice. Love it. Well, thank you so much. Thanks everyone out there for sending their prompts, and thanks for attending the Mix and Match composition at the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival.
Thank you, Alyssa. Bye.
Thank you.